Matt, I want to know your top 6 comedy TV shows of all time. Take it away, my friend.
All right. Well, with any list we're doing, disclaimer out front, this is our opinions. Well, this one's not going to be Chris's. This is my personal opinion. Chris is going to give us his own top 6 shows. I am picking the top 6 that made me audibly laugh out loud the most, which definitely does not line up with my top 6 favorite shows that we consider comedies. Because, like, I've mentioned when we talk about the bracket, like BoJack Horseman and Futurama are like 2 of my favorite shows, period. They are not on this list as top 6s. Oh. All right, my number 6 favorite laugh out loud comedy show. I'm gonna say number 6 is American Dad. I think this is actually the laugh out loud funniest Seth MacFarlane show.
Now, they don't have to be smart. Their breasts don't need to be prize winners, but we should know they're there. Asses. We prefer slightly too large over boyish, but this is low priority.
I think it's, I think it took a while to get going, but I feel that American Dad, like, what they were able to do, like, they really leaned into their characters' quirks and traits.
Think it over. I'll be in your bath. I'm not actually gonna clean myself. I just like to sit on the drain while it empties.
Steve and Roger are just like, if it's a Steve and Roger arc in an episode, I know I'm getting the most crazy, insane stuff. Roger just says outlandish things.
Pete, you've been quiet. What about your family? You married?
2 years ago, my wife was killed by a plastic surgeon in Ecuador. I found him on Yelp. I gave him 2 stars. Her breasts looked amazing during the open casket.
Steve is such a little girly boy son, and he has like some of the funniest episodes.
I'm so frustrated, Ooh, I feel it coming on!
Don't you do it, young man.
I think I'm gonna go bananas!
Do not go bananas.
It's gonna happen!
You
I'm
best
gonna
not
go
go bananas,
bananas!
Do it, Steve.
Ah! Is this what you want? Are you happy now? Go! Is this what you wanted? Me going bananas?
On my number 5 most laugh out loud comedy, I keep changing what it's called. My number 5 favorite comedy to make me laugh out loud. TV show edition, not movies. It's botching. Big Mouth. And this is a newer one. It's on Netflix, but this talks dirty. And if you know me, you know I love weird ways to say genitalia that you've never heard and just disgusting, disturbing words. Nick Kroll does a lot of creepy voices, but it's a super funny show. It's all about like hormones and kids going through puberty.
And if I ever deviate from my very precise method, even a smidge, something terrible will happen.
That sounds like how a psychopath would masturbate.
Oh, please. Would a psychopath keep a journal logging every ejaculation by weight and color?
Hold on. If I hadn't stopped you, were you gonna fully come in front of me?
Yes.
Have you ever seen Big Mouth?
I've seen a bit of the first season.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. It was just one of those many shows that like I watch, I just don't keep going.
Yeah, so everybody gets like a hormone monster named like, and like the main one is Maury, I think.
Okay.
And he's kind of like, hey, kid, you know, go ahead. I just shouldn't say any of the stuff they say because people, you know.
Yeah.
From the top, everybody, back to one.
So he's kind of like this cool monster. And then Nick Kroll's character is like this little tiny boy who like hasn't matured and like is like really going through puberty slower than everybody else. Gets like this like broken down old busted hormone monster. He's like,
You got a problem, man. Grab my pen and give me a fat little kid, baby.
yeah, man, get here. This guy's gonna pop your popcorn. And it's like so stupid. My number 4 favorite comedy show to make me laugh out loud is Key and Peele. We've talked about it. Key and Peele's sketches, I think it's the funniest laugh out loud sketch show. It's going to be more tight, more consistent than your SNLs and shows that have been longer running. And we talked about it compared to Chappelle's. And I think Chappelle's was more like culturally significant and did a lot of like really clever stuff, especially so much about like race and topics on race, and did it really good and really funny. But I think Key and Peele, they create characters that are so ridiculous. You look at their costuming and you just laugh at them.
Yeah.
Just like how they look and the wigs and costume choices they make. So Key and Peele for me. I've talked about a couple of my favorite sketches. The ones that I go to if I need a laugh, like tears coming out of my eyes laughing. Manly Tears.
Those some manly tears, okay? Those some manly ass tears right there that you looking at.
And LaRon can't laugh.
It was a funny story. I was laughing.
Then let it out, man. Just laugh. This beer exploded in my crotch and looked like I peed myself. Now I'm trying to walk over it. Come on, what are we doing?
Oh, I love Key and Peele. It occurred to me recently that I think, yeah, pound for pound, I would agree. It is the funniest sketch show of all time. Saturday Night Live probably has, like, if you were to compile, like, the 5 best sketches of all time, like Saturday Night Live, it's kind of cheating because it's been around 35 plus years, whatever.
Yeah.
I would probably put SNL above, but yeah, pound for pound, and even compared to Chappelle's Show, Mad TV, and Living Color, sketch for sketch, I'm going Key and Peele is the funniest sketch show of all time.
But here are the big juicy ones. Quite honestly, for me, these 3 could be in any order. I think you're gonna. I think you're a fan of 2 of these 3 shows. The other one you said you haven't seen much. So I think these would probably be very similar for you, but we'll have to see when you do yours. My number 3 favorite comedy to make me laugh out loud of all time. It hurts to put this one 3 because for a while it was my favorite show, period. I thought it was so good. Workaholics. Workaholics is so funny. The writing, all of the references. They were guys that are probably around the same age as us. So all their references to things just like knocked it out of the park for me.
Oh, I've got to join a book club?
Please do.
I just finished Goosebumps, R.L. Stein. I basically read the whole series.
I love a good like reference to something random that is somehow thrown into comedy, and they mastered it. There was a lot of other funny stuff that wasn't references to. All the guys had their own kind of personalities, and then once you kind of set up like Durs is this kind of guy, Adam is this kind of guy, you know, flipping that on its head for an episode, which is always funny. I think my favorite episode is the fish fry one. They want to have a fish fry. That's not the main crux of the episode. They want to have a fish fry, but Alice tells them no.
Yeah, what if we hire a gigolo to whump her ass, Gangnam style?
Right?
Then we'll be frying fish in no time, dude.
Oh, dude, nice. We know chick.
And so they try to hire like a porn actor or like some big hunk. They like get a bunch of dudes with some like dick pics to them, and they get this guy that's like, they're like, oh, I forget what they call him, Big Thunder is his name. And they're like, you have to bang out so we can have a fish fry. And they try to have him like hit on her at a bar. They put him in a milkman costume. And like it doesn't work. Durs and like Adam's, like one of the long running like side plots is Adam's always trying to be like, hey Alice, come on. I know like, what do you say? We go out sometimes like, ew, I would rather die. And like Durs ends up actually sleeping with Alice after Adam snuck into Alice's office thinking he was gonna like do it. He's gonna do dick in a box. And Durs and Alice, you know, have relations on her desk while Adam is hiding under her desk because he's gonna surprise her. And he's like crying and like it's funny because Durs finishes really quick and she's like, that hit stretch. Like, oh, the aftershocks. And then like Durs or Alice like throws a tissue that they clean up with down on the ground, and Adam uses it. It's just, I die. I'm in tears in that episode. It's so, it beats down Adam so hard and makes him look so pathetic, but it's so funny. You want the bad stuff to happen to him in that episode. It's my favorite. Do you have any like favorite Workaholics episodes on the top of your head? Because I know like that's one of our favorite shows.
Oh man, the Voltron episode the Vapetron I think it's called.
Oh yeah.
Where Chris D'Elia is a pedophile and they meet him on the
penthouse.
Yeah, they try to catch Chris D'Elia, whose character is a pedophile, and they catch him. He comes over and he ends up being like the coolest guy ever.
You fellas, dude, that's balling.
He balls big time.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, yes, it's safe to say that he's the ballness guy we've ever met.
Yeah.
But let's not forget why he came here. To butt ram a boy.
That's the one episode that stands out to me. I haven't watched it in a while. I gotta go back and watch to brush up on my Workaholics. But
my number 2, this might be controversial, my number 2 favorite comedy show to make me laugh out loud, Always Sunny. I've got it at number 2. What more can be said? I probably don't need to go into much detail because we will end up talking about this in so many more videos. But you can go watch the bloopers and just laugh. You don't even need full episodes. You don't even need context. Just watching their bloopers. And it's not because they're cracking. It's because what they're saying is so funny. I will say, I think my favorite bit, my favorite scene in all of Sunny, and for a long time after it came out, I don't think people had mentioned it, but I do think it is like one of the most recognized ones now. It's like one of the best comedy sequences. So maybe it always was, and I wasn't unique and didn't see it first. Not that it matters, but it's when when Dennis and Mac are trying to buy a boat, and it's the whole implication scene in the hardware store.
There's nowhere for me to run. What am I gonna do? Say no?
Okay, that seems really dark.
No, it's not dark. You're misunderstanding me, bro.
I think I am.
Yeah, you are. Because if the girl said no, then the answer obviously is no.
No.
But the thing is she's not gonna say no. She would never say no because of the implication.
Always Sunny for me cracks me up. Laugh out loud all the time.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, number 1. I've mentioned this show once or twice. It didn't make our best TV show bracket. I didn't feel I could put it in, even though it's a very subjective personal favorite of mine. I think it only had 3 or 4 seasons, but they're all really funny. They have some incredibly funny comedians. My number 1 favorite comedy show to make me just laugh until my heart might give out is The League. It's starring like Nick Kroll, Paul Scheer, Mark Duplass, and Jason Mantzoukas, who comes in as a character later, and named Rafi, who for the first season I was like, this guy's too much.
Do you want a Jewish back rub?
What's a Jewish back rub?
It's on the front.
I was like, The League is already pretty dark and out there in comedy. I was like, Rafi's just too much id energy with no regulation. But he's my favorite character now.
Do I keep going to track meets and jumping in front of the guy that's starting the race?
He's insane, and every time he's in that show, in a scene, you're just like, you don't know what's gonna happen, and he says the funniest things.
Sadly, one of our actors died during production, and his death is filmed live and in the movie.
Oh, so, God, you kept it in the movie.
Yeah, well, it was during a pretty integral scene of everybody commenting on a guy that was dying.
Paul Scheer's character, Andre, is great. He just gets picked on and beat down. He's the classic kind of wimp of the group, but it's just all the insults and stuff, he's oblivious to them, and he's bulletproof.
You are like a sickly child who's dying.
Okay.
From I like to think it's like my philanthropic endeavor helping you out.
Really? How?
Well, you're like a sickly child.
Okay.
And they just beat him down and make fun of him mercilessly, and The League is so funny. I would watch any of these shows if I needed a laugh. They're all great. So that's my top 6.